Hi, I'm Hazel, and today we're taking a mildly educated guess at how much gold inflation to expect in BFA. I am definitely not an economist, so we're going to keep things pretty straightforward. Both the gold inputs and sinks tend to increase every expansion, which makes gold worth less over time. We're going to look directly at those increases to get a feel for how much gold you can expect to be making and spending in Battle for Azeroth relative to now. By gold input, I mean ways in which the game directly creates gold. So if you did a world quest that gave you 100 gold, that's new gold. Selling a glyph for 100 gold in the auction house is not, and therefore doesn't have the same impact on inflation. Buying or selling the WoW token is also not creating or removing gold, so also does not affect inflation. We're going to go through several gold printing sources one by one and compare the rate between Legion and BFA. First, direct gold dropped by humanoid mobs. So when you kill some max level average NPC dude, how much is in his pockets? In Legion, that averages out to roughly 75 silver per mob, not counting any cloth drops. There is a pretty wide spread, so my average could be off, but it's somewhere in there. Ish. In BFA, the average shakes out to very close to the same, even a little under sometimes. I also saw a bit less cloth dropping, but that could be put down to small sample size and RNG. I'm calling direct gold from humanoid mob drop inflation 0%. Next, the vendor value of gray trash items. Think chipped claws, inert elemental goo, that kind of thing. Not the gray trash gear, we'll look at gear in a sec. Most mobs will drop two types of gray trash, a common one and then a rarer one that vendors for more. In Legion, for a non-animal mob, you get 2 gold 70 silver for the normal item and then 6 gold 12 silver for the uncommon one. For animals, it's 22 silver for the regular one and 2 gold 86 for the uncommon. Presumably, animals have a lower value from their vendor trash to compensate for income from their meat and potentially skins. So in BFA, interestingly enough, beast trash items are identical in vendor price to the beast trash drops from Legion. Then, the BFA non-beast trash shared those same vendor prices, but the rare drop seemed far more common with those. Overall though, this actually shakes out to less gold. So for inflation from gray vendor trash, I'm calling it 0%. It's actually probably a bit of a negative, but this has such a relatively low impact that I'm not going to worry about it. Next, let's look at vendor values of gear. So exact prices are going to vary across quality, armor type, and slot, so we're just going to compare a couple of equivalent pieces. We'll be looking at max level green BOE gear, but the same percentages should hold roughly true-ish for better and worse gear. Probably. So in Legion, if you get these plate green BOE shoulders, those vendor for 24 gold 53. The BFA plate green BOE shoulders vendor at 31 gold 27. Legion cloth gloves vendor for 16 gold 97, while the BFA equivalent vendors for 21 gold 39. In most cases, we see approximately a 25% vendor price bump on equivalent rank gear going into BFA. While we're in here, slightly alarming fun fact, the Wowhead given repair cost for these items is 108% higher on the BFA ones than the Legion ones. If that holds true, repairs might hurt a lot more in BFA. 108% more. Next, let's take a quick look at standard quest reward gold. In Legion, you're looking at 20 gold-ish for a normal non-world quest. In BFA, that bumps up to 23 gold 40. That is a 15% bump in income from that. Next, we start getting into the good stuff with gold world quest amounts. So in Legion, you get around 78-ish gold for a standard non-elite gold world quest. You get more, of course, for elite quests and Argus stuff, but let's chill for a second. In BFA, your standard run-of-the-mill non-elite gold reward world quest will get around 90-ish gold on average. Ish. Eye test. Again, 15% more. Next is gold missions, the fattest gold print since somebody decided garrisons were a good idea. In Legion, 200%ing an endgame gold mission will get you 2750 or so gold. In BFA, like in Legion, early on in the system you get smaller gold missions. As you finish the campaign and set up your followers, they ramp up to higher outputs. The early mission I see grants 600 gold on 200%ing, but I haven't progressed the table to get to the top end gold missions yet. The highest report that I've seen around online is 5k gold for a 200%ed mission, which would be an 81% increase if true. That's by far the biggest jump, and it's a big percent on an already big source of gold, which reinforces the idea that they're really pushing this mission table. Legion in particular introduced a couple of other gold inputs on top of what we already had. The first one is emissary cash rewards. In Legion, the chest you get for completing an emissary often contains some gold to the tune of 600 to 800-ish. It's not always, sometimes you get order resources instead, but it is pretty common. In BFA, there's no longer a box, but instead a direct amount of either war resources or gold you get on completing it. If it's gold, you get 700 gold flat. I'm calling this one roughly 0% inflated. Another one to think about is Paragon Rep Cash rewards. In Legion, those typically had close to 1,000 gold to make you feel no better at all about not getting that mount that you wanted. Now unfortunately, I have not gotten enough rep on the BFA beta to see if there's any gold involved in another Paragon style situation. They did say no more random mounts from the system, but it remains to be seen if there will still be that extra gold bonus. Something to keep an eye on. The third Legion source was the combat follower equipment that granted gold directly on world quest completion. A fully kitted out follower would get you an extra 150 gold per world quest in Legion. So far, I've seen no trace of combat followers at all in BFA, so it's looking safe to say so far that this one's not coming with us. As far as gold sinks, most of those tend to scale themselves along with inflation. Auction house fees are proportionate to the item prices, black market auction house prices will get driven up, etc. The artificial gold sink bumps come from necessary vendor goods such as cooking mats, which are actually at the same price they were in Legion, repairs, which we already saw at a potentially terrifying 108% increase, and then of course luxury vendor items such as the auctioneer mount. That Caravan Brutosaur is 5 million gold, which is still more than everything the Mad Merchant sold combined, but it's such a niche optional thing that I don't think it's really going to drain that much out of the economy. My theory is that by sticking the auctioneer on it, this is kind of intended to bait people who have been sitting on dragon hoards of gold for years to just let some of it go. To sum up, let's draw some roughly estimated conclusions. In BFA, you'll be earning more gold from questing and missions, the same from vendoring everyday trash, and less from the lack of combat follower bonuses. It seems fair to say that there was thought towards controlling inflation via no new combat follower gold, no vendor trash value jump, and nasty repairs, and then all of that hard work went right out the window with the mission board. It's starting to look like the best strategy for casual gold making will once again be running missions on as many alts as possible, potentially from your phone while still in bed. I don't really like this because while it is easy, it devalues the income that you get from going out and doing real content. At least the combat follower gold made it worthwhile to get out there and do more world quests and play WoW. You'll still need war resources to run missions, but still. So that's my take. What do you guys think of these gold values going into BFA? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!